In today's video, I'm going to cover a few questions on right angle trigonometry using Sohcahtoa, and then angle of elevation and depression, plus a little bit about the bearing problems as well. So some questions will be with calculator and some questions are going to be without calculator. So question number 1 is, these two questions are without calculator. So find the value of theta, and it's a right angle triangle. The right angle is at angle C. So even if they didn't mention, this notation means it's understood that the right angle triangle is at angle C. Similarly here also it is at angle C. So we have to find out the value of theta. So to do that, we'll use Sohcahtoa. So S means sine, and the first letter is the angle, so cos and tan, and O here means opposite, H is hypotenuse, A means adjacent, H is again hypotenuse, O means opposite, and A means adjacent. So these side lengths changes according to the position of theta. So in this case, theta is here, which means this is opposite. This one is hypotenuse, is the largest side as well, and this is adjacent. Now we just need to see which trig ratio we have to use. So because we have to find here the value of theta, and we have to use hypotenuse and adjacent because these two are given, which means from Sohcahtoa I can see that I have to choose cos theta here. So cos theta is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. So in this case, cos theta is equal to adjacent, in this case is 4, hypotenuse is 8, so this is half. So cos theta is half, which means theta is equal to 60 degree. So this question is without GDC, which means they expect you to know the value of sine, cos and tan for few angles. So I will highly recommend you to memorize at least the values for when theta is 0, 30 degree, 45 degree, 60 degree, 90 degree, and maybe you can also add 180, 270, 360 degree. But for the time being, if you can remember 0, 30, 45, 60, and 90 for sine theta, cos theta, and tan theta. So sine 0 is 0, sine 30 is 1 over 2, sine 45 is 1 over square root of 2 or square root of 2 over 2. Sine 60 is square root of 3 divided by 2. Sine 90 is 1. Cos theta is all these values but in reverse order. So this is 1 square root of 3 over 2, 1 over square root of 2 or square root of 2 over 2. And this one is half and this is 0. And tan theta is equal to, as you know, is sine theta over cos theta, which means if I divide them, this is 0. This is going to be 1 over square root of 3. This is 1. This is square root of 3. And this is infinity. So it's not defined here. So if you remember this, then you can do the questions very quickly here. The easiest way to remember these values are, if you know for sine theta, then you can complete this, just like I explained just now. So for this one, easy way to remember is this is 0 over 4 square root of that. This is 1 over 4 square root of this value. So half is square root of 1 over 4. This is 2 over 4 square root of that. And this one is 3 over 4 square root of 3 over 4. And this is 4 over 4 square root of 4. So sine 0 is 0 over 4. It's easy to remember, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 4 is always in the denominator. And then take the square root. So 0 over 4 is 0. Square root of 0 is going to be 0. That's sine 0. 1 over 4 square root of this is going to be half. That's why sine 30 is half. That's the easiest way to remember it. 2 over 4, square root of 2 over 4 is 1 over square root of 2 or square root of 2 over 2 if you rationalize it. Square root of 3 over 4, that gives you the value square root of 3 over 2 for sine 60. And 4 over 4 is 1, square root of 1 is 1. So this you can make this, and then these values you can calculate for sine, and then for cos, as I explained, reverse, and then tan, you divide them. So theta is 60 degree in this case. Now the next value is in the next question. In next question you have to find x, and this side is given and this angle is given. So if this is angle which is given, which we have to use, so we have to label the sides according to this angle. So if this is the angle, this becomes opposite. This is hypotenuse. Hypotenuse is always the largest side and is opposite to the right angle triangle, and this is adjacent. So now we need to find, in this case, is hypotenuse, and we have to use this angle and opposite side. And you can see here that is sine. So sine 30 degree is equal to opposite, which is 10.8, divided by hypotenuse, which is x. So x is equal to, in this case, 10.8 over sine 30. So by cross multiplying, so you just replace your switch x with sine 30. If x is in the denominator, then this goes in the denominator here. Now we know 10.8, we know sine 30 degree. From here you can see is half, which means this is 10.8 multiplied by 2, and which is going to be 21.6, whatever is the unit given here. So if it's centimeter, this will become 21.6 centimeters. So this is your, and again these questions were without calculator because they do expect you to know these values, as I already mentioned. Okay. The next example is you have to find, you need to be familiar with this notation. This means find angle K. So we have to find this angle K. And this is 3, this is 4. Now you can also find this side length because this is the Pythagoras triplet. So this is 5. But you don't have to because the two sides is already given, which is sufficient information to find the angle. So I'm going to again write down Sohcahtoa. And then if this angle we have to find, this is opposite, and this one is your adjacent. This is hypotenuse. Again, we don't need that. Now to find the value of K, we need to use adjacent and opposite, which because these two sides were given. But if you found hypotenuse, then you can use any of it. Again, this is not requirement. You don't have to. So let's use adjacent and opposite, the sides which was given here. Now to use adjacent and opposite, which one we are going to use here. So opposite and adjacent is tan. So that means tan K is going to be 4 over 3, and then K is tan inverse 4 over 3. Now we have to use calculator in this question. Now for calculator, let's substitute, because this is tan inverse. You should be able to input this in one step using your GTC. So first thing you need to do is you go to second and tan, which means it takes you to tan inverse. Now you go to alpha y and choose the fraction, and now we need to enter the values 4 and 3, and then close and enter. So 53 point, always we use 3 significant figures unless otherwise stated in the question. So in this case it's going to be, because the fourth digit is 3, which is less than 5, so it's going to be 53.1 degree. So this is 53.1 degree is your K here. Now the next one, you have to find the side length, which is R here. And again, one angle and one side length is given. So if this is 38 degree, which means 21 is opposite. This is hypotenuse. And again, we need to use, we need to see that which trig ratio we have to use, which connects opposite and hypotenuse. And you can see that is sine. So sine 38 degree in this case is going to be 21 over R. So R is 21 over sine 38 degree. Again, using your calculator, you input this in one step. So go to alpha y, use the fraction feature, 21 divided by sine 38. So that's going to be the value of R, which in this case, again, rounded to 3 significant figures, is 34.1. Make sure that when you are doing this calculation, double check your mode. Your mode should be on degrees. If it's not on degrees, make sure that your mode is on degree, okay, before you do any calculations here. Okay, otherwise you will get wrong answers here. Okay, so the next one is a word problem here. So a tree casts a shadow of 10 meters when the sun is at an angle of 40 degree on the ground. How tall is the tree? So you need to find out 40 degree to the ground, and you need to find out how tall is the tree. So I just made a diagram here. So this is a tree. It's casting a shadow of 10 meters here. This is the shadow. So this is the shadow, and sun is at an angle of 40 degree. So sun is at an angle of 40 degree here. How tall is the tree? Which means we have to find, let's say this is X. Now if this is 40, this is opposite, and this is going to be adjacent. This is hypotenuse. So now we know that Sohcahtoa, let's see which one. because it's a right angle triangle. The Sohcahtoa can be used only for right angle triangle. Remember that. So now we need to see which trig ratio connects opposite and adjacent, which is tan in this case. So tan 40 is equal to x over 10. So x is equal to 10 tan 40 degree. Now we are going to input this. Let's use calculator tan, because tan 40 is not one of the angle value which I mentioned you to that you need to know. So tan, rounded it to three significant figures, it's 8.39. So 8.39 meters is your answer. The next one, I'm going to talk about angle of elevation and depression. So if you have an object which is here, or if you are standing and then you are looking at the object, like looking up, then the angle of elevation is this angle. And remember, the angle of elevation and angle of depression is always with the horizon. So if you are looking up, the simple example of this will be, let's say that you have a projector up here and you are looking up on the projector, then the angle of elevation is going to be, so if this is the projector, the angle of elevation is this angle, but this angle is always with the horizon, so horizontal line. For angle of depression, let's say that if you are looking at an object which is kind of on the ground, or then you are looking down on that object, again the angle of depression is going to be with respect to the horizon, or the horizon with respect to the horizontal line. Okay, so now let's do an example for the angle of elevation in this case. So Rondo is flying a kite, and the kite string is at an angle of elevation of 60 degree. If he is standing 30 meters from the point on the ground directly below the kite, find the length of the kite string. First, most important thing in this case is that you draw this information. So we have someone who is standing on the ground, and then there is a kite, and the angle of elevation, because this person is looking up at the kite, which means this is the angle of elevation, 60 degree with respect to the ground, which is the horizontal base here. And he is standing at 30 meter from the point on the ground directly below the kite. So this distance is 30 meter, which is directly below the kite. And you have to find the length of the string. Again, it's a simple problem of Sohcahtoa again. So Sohcahtoa, and we need to just see that which one. Once you know the diagram, then it's easy using Sohcahtoa, since it's a right angle triangle. If this is 60, this becomes opposite again. Labeling is very, very important. And this is hypotenuse, as we already know, and this is our adjacent. Now we need to find the length of the string, which means I need to find hypotenuse, and I already know adjacent, so we need to see which trig ratio connects adjacent and hypotenuse. You can see is cos. So cos 60 is equal to 30 divided by L. So L is equal to 30 divided by cos 60. And you already know the value of cos 60 is sine 30 is half, so is cos 60. So that is going to be 1/2 and 60 centimeter here. So this is the length of the string. Whenever you get an answer for these kind of questions, please make sure that you always pay attention to the numbers you are getting as your final answer, if that is making sense. Okay, because we already know this was 30 meter, this is 60 meter. So when you got L as 60 centimeter, just think for a few seconds like whether this number is making sense or not. If it does not make sense, then either you made some mistake in your calculation, or maybe you did not read the question carefully. So make sure that you check it. Okay. The next one I want to talk about is the bearings. So the bearing basically is an angle, but it is always measured from north, and north is the reference point in this case, and it's always measured in clockwise direction. And it's always represented as 3 digits. For example, if you have 120 degree as an angle, then it is 120, which is 3 digits. But if the bearing is 60 degree, you never mention this as 60 degree. On diagram, you will say 60 degree. But when you write down, you will write down 060. So this is, the bearing is always expressed as 3 digits. So here you have, so I made a diagram. So if it's 120 degree, the first thing is that you draw directions. So N, north, east, south, and west. So if it's 120 degree, you know 90 degree for each angle, for each quadrant you have angle of 90 degree. So 120 means it's going to go in second, not second, it's the fourth quadrant here, but from north, because this is the reference point, and 120 degree in clockwise direction. So that's the representation of a bearing of 120 degree. Similarly for 60 degree, as I mentioned on the diagram, you just write 60, not 060, but when you will write down as bearing is equal to, then you will write 060 degree. The next one is the compass bearings. They are measured from either north or from south. So the way we use the compass bearing, or the way we express the compass bearing, is we always, the north or south is the reference point here. So we'll write north 20 degree east, or north 55 degree west, or south 36 degree east, or south 67 degree east. If you notice, the angle between the directions are always less than 90 degree. Okay, the angle between the compass direction is less than 90 degree. Now, for example, if you had the bearing here, which in this case, as you can see from the diagram, because it's clockwise direction and is with respect to north, this is 240 degree. So if I have to represent this as compass bearing, so again, because it has, the angle has to be less than 90 degrees, so north cannot be reference point in this case. So I have to start with south, and then this is 180, so this becomes 60. So this will become south 60 west. So this will be your compass bearing in this case. Now, let's do an example here. So Nina runs 5 kilometers on a bearing of 120 degree. Again, the diagram plays a very, very important role. So after you know all the information which I already mentioned here, the next step, you should be able to put that information, whatever information given in a question, and represent that as a diagram. So here, Nina runs 5 kilometers on a bearing of 120 degree. You know bearing means with respect to north in clockwise direction. From the start, how far south has she traveled? So again, diagram with directions north, east, south, west. Bearing of 120 degree. North is the reference point, which means you move here. So which means this is 30 degree. Now she covered 5 kilometers. So she started from here and then she is here. So she covered 5 kilometers here. And now you have to find out how far south has she traveled. And south is this, which means you have to find out this value. Now again, this is a right angle triangle, Sohcahtoa. Okay, you can have bearing problems with right angle triangle and non-right angle triangle. This video is focused on right angle triangle. So we did Sohcahtoa for right angle triangle, and we did angle of elevation and depression for right angle triangle, and then we did bearings and compass bearing for right angle triangle. So Sohcahtoa here. Now here, because this angle is 30 degree, which means this is opposite. Again, remember the labeling is very, very important after you have a diagram. So your opposite and adjacent changes according to the placement of angle. So here, if 30 degree angle is this one, then this is opposite. This is hypotenuse, because we know this is right angle triangle. So we have to use the trig ratio which connects, because opposite is the side which you have to find, and you have to use hypotenuse, which is 5 kilometers, which is given here. So opposite and hypotenuse is connected by sine theta. So sine 30 is equal to opposite, which we have to find, divided by 5. So opposite in this case is 5 sine 30, and sine 30 we already know is half. So 5 times half, which is equal to 2.5 kilometers. So she will travel here 2.5 kilometers. Okay, this is one way of doing it. But again, if this is 90, this is 30, and then this becomes 60, you can also actually use 30, 60, 90 relationship. I don't know if you know about this thing. Or maybe I will make another video for special right angle triangles, which is 45, 45, 90, and 36, 30, 60, and 90. Okay, so you can also use those relationship instead of using Sohcahtoa. That's it for today's lesson.